All right. Let me check my sound. Good morning, everybody. Let's see. All right. I'll be happy with that. All right. If anybody tunes in, let me know how the stream is going. Boy, 5 o'clock. Early, ain't it? Time to get up and go. Get out there, make a living for your family and yourself. Make sure everybody has food, clothing, and shelter. That's the main thing. I think I'm all set up here. Anyway, let me check the chat. All right. Living the dream, ain't we, guys? How many of you guys out there are working in construction? You know, landscaping, plumbing, electrical, structural, iron workers. How many of you guys are out there this morning? Demolition guys, construction in general. How many of you are foremen, supervisors, project managers, company owners? Y'all put in a comment. Tell me what you do in this world. Why are you up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Me, I get up every morning, 4:30. Years of trucking, demolition. Always had to be it. Let me get my little old thing up here. I understand. What in the world? There we go. Years and years of being in the field, traveling. I had to get up early, and I'm sure you do too. Somebody send me something. Anybody out there this morning? I did get up. Let's see, what can we talk about? About these glasses. About bosses. Let's talk about bosses. Y'all want to do that? Talk about bosses? What is a boss? I made some notes. Oh, on a sticky. I am the sticky note king. Trying to change that, be a little more organized. Let's see what that says. It's got that darn old. See, if it catches a face, it's going to focus on a face. Let me see if I can hide myself. Here, how about I read it? All right. I had a boss man one time. Yeah, he was, my upline. And he told me, and it stuck with me through the years here. He says, people don't quit their job, they quit their bosses. And that stuck with me a long time. And The more I moved along down the line, the more I realized that that's a true statement. So if you're a if you're a just a if you're not just a if you're a worker, well, we're all workers. Let's just put it this way. What kind of boss do you have? The guy that gives you your instructions every day. What kind of person is he? Is he somebody you really like working for? Or is he just something you have to put up with to make your living and do your work? Is he a leader or just a boss? And do you know the difference, and have you worked for those two different type of people? The old Southern saying is you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. And that was always my approach, is to lead. And that means, if that means getting out there and being in the field with the guys and helping out or saying good morning, that's a leader. And man, there's been plenty of days when, I've had as many as 135 people on a job site. And I made it a point, as I walked through the project or had a safety meeting, or even in the morning in passing, and even in the afternoon, every time I pass somebody, I'd always address them. Good morning, good afternoon. How you doing today? You looking good? Appreciate it, man. And when you see them actively involved in work, if the work looks good, very good. You tell them work is good. Thank you. And after a time, they think, that guy's just being bad. But after a while, you see them smile when they see you, and they give you the thumbs up, or they'll say buenos dias or good morning, how you doing, man? Good to see you, and all this, and then it becomes authentic. And as you go along, you take interest in their lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. In the Army, I guess they would call it fraternization, but that's not even true in the Army. What does the word fraternization, what's that word? Fraternize. Fraternity. Here it is, fraternization. Although it is most commonly been applied to officer enlisted relationship, fraternization also includes improper relationship and social interaction between officer members, as well as between enlisted members, regardless of the military affiliation of other officers, enlisted members, including members. So that's they like to put that in terms of dating, but once you bond with someone, and you should cherish those moments of bonding. Anyway, I'm sure most of the guys on here are going out for construction. If you're not in construction and you've got some other objective in mind and you happen to cruise by this, feel free to jump right in to comment. I think this is the third week or fourth week I've done this, and the purpose of this is to help guys get their minds right and get ready to get back into the work. You've been, some of you may have worked over the weekend, but this is Monday, and motivation is something we regularly do. We motivate ourselves Monday. Every day we get up, every time we get out of the bed, we're self-motivating. Excuse me, man, I still got this cold. But that's motivation. So I'm decided I wanted to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and YouTube has got a wonderful platform here for me to get out here and do live streaming so that guys can get motivated. We could talk about family. We could tell dad jokes. We can complain about the way we think things are, and we can talk about it. Kind of derogatory comments in any shape, form, or fashion, because we're here about you. And I don't want to say anything derogatory about somebody I might care about. What? Oh, man. Sorry, guys. I'm on the satellite and it glitches every now and then. It may not show up. Hopefully, it won't show up in the stream. Maybe they'll delay it. I don't know how these things work. But if you're out there and you want to join in, heck, put me in the truck radio, play me through the YouTube channel, put me on. Yeah, I'm glitching. Put me on the radio through the Bluetooth and just listen to the ramblings. And see if I can't motivate you. Hey, listen, I know the weather's warmed up. Last time we talked, or the time before, it was bitterly cold. I think the weather is moderated, and I'm in the southeast region, so I think the weather's moderated somewhat. Let me take a look. Yeah, it's a balmy 43 degrees a day. That's just light jacket weather, ain't it? And we're going to have a good work week. We might start picking up some rain toward the end of the week. So if you're going to make hay while the sun shines, you better get on it now. Looks like it's going to be a little wet. Man, toward the end of the week and all into the first of next week in the North Georgia area. So, guys, if you want to make the money, you better be rolling today. If you're looking at the weather, I don't know what kind of work you're in. Grading probably ain't going to be working. But you guys don't work anyway. Those old demolition guys, they going to be out there, though. They like the rain. That keeps the dust down. Ain't got the neighbors complaining. They'll still complain. Complain about noise. Complain about the site looking ugly. There's so many people out there ain't got nothing to do but walk through life and complain about something. I hope you're not one of those. If you are, work on it. Don't complain all the time. Look on the bright side. What's that song? Look on the bright side of life. Anybody like music out there? I'll get my mandolin. People ask me, you play that? Nope. All I do is practice. I like the way it sounds in bluegrass, and when I was traveling about, this thing was easy to travel with. And at night when you're in the hotel room, this is far better to turn to than the beer or going out and spending money because you're lonely. Now, every now and then, I would be on a job site where not only was I Sometimes I'd be fortunate enough to where most of the people were from out of town, and we'd get together and go to dinner every now and then. But I didn't like spending so much money. Says my satellite signal's bad. I don't know what that means. Key rate. Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Well, it said it's 0. Auto. So what we have is just a crappy satellite signal. Anyway, and I'm a bluegrass fan. And so I thought I would take up the mandolin. And so anyway, and then I bought a camera and learned photography, and I could sit in a room at night on my computer and edit photography. And then I started doing a little video and things like that on the job site to document kind of things I saw. Of course, in my position, I had to document through photography all the time. So it was nice. It was interesting. I got my, but anyway, heck, man, y'all join in. Here we are. What is this? The 2nd day of February? 3rd day of February. Good Lord. Time fuges tempest or tempest fugits. One of them. Time flies. Time flies. Ain't none of us getting no younger. You got out there, break your back, put your mind to work, learn something so you can do something when your back is give out. Take care of your back. Always take care of your back. Proper lifting, guys. You ain't got to show that you some kind of He-Man. I know how machoism works. Listen, I've been there, done that, and I sure paid the price with painful joints and back and everything. And nowadays, I have to go exercise 3 days, at least 3 days a week, go for walks and stretch and flexes and all that stuff that we did on the job site occasionally. Sometimes we did it every day, which was important. Stretch and flex was important. Guys get to the job and they're cold and they're asleep and blood ain't flowing and caffeine ain't flowing and they're asleep. And one of the best ways to avoid injuries is to stretch before you. An athlete will tell you that. Stretch before you run. Stretch before you lift. Working ain't no different. You're using your body all day long, walking, lifting, bending, picking, all that stuff. And you need to warm your body up before you get started. All of a sudden, the boss is screaming, hurry up, get it done, get her done. Let me check something behind me. And there we go. I don't know what happened there, but we took care of it. And if you didn't take time, man, make that motion. Pull that joint, pull that muscle, or that muscle that holds that joint ain't ready, and all of a sudden you got some painful separations and pain for the rest of the day and maybe even longer. Forget and don't forget the long-term implications. It's like jumping off the track hose. You equipment operators, you young bucks out there, come out of the cab, step down on the tracks, and then jump to the ground. Look at them old operators now. Some of them are getting up there on their knees and stuff to get in the track hoe. Use your 3 points of contact. The equipment is designed with points of contact for you to climb on and off the equipment. Make sure you use that, and you want to protect your body for the long term. Another thing that guys are remiss about is wearing hearing protection. Yeah, I know. Putting them in, taking them out, putting them in, taking them out. You can't hear nobody, blah, 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 blah. But when you get my age and your wife is screaming at you, why you got the TV so loud? Well, because I didn't take care of my hearing. You take care of yours. Or you can't hear, one most wonderful sign in the world is to hear a grandbaby laugh about something. So take care of your hearing. Take care of your hearing. And make sure to live a balanced life, okay? Make sure you eat good, healthy, nutritious meals. Stay off the junk food. They got too much stuff in it. All that processed cane sugar. I've gotten where I don't have any kind of sugar. Now I like sweets, and my wife will make sweets every now and then. Boy, it's a Herculean effort for me to avoid overeating on that kind of stuff. And so if I can do it, what was that movie scene with Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson? Anger management. And had this dude that bullied Sandler when he was in high school. And so this anger management doctor, played by Jack Nicholson, told him he needed to confront those past things. And the guy ended up living in a monastery, and Jack Nicholson said, go bully him. He was like, man, he's a monk. He says, go bully him. And he got around to it, and all of a sudden there was a scene in there where Jack Nicholson told this guy, so he says, I'm supposed to take lessons on self-discipline from a 600-pound dude. And so I know the struggle. And anyway, guys, make sure you get, if you're in construction, you get, well, maybe you aren't getting plenty of fresh air, but try and get some fresh air and a little exercise. Go play with the kids, get out to the soccer fields or the ball fields with the kids, take them to karate. As a younger man, I had kids, and man, I was working 2 or 3 jobs so that what I thought was a privilege for my wife could get the kids to the ball fields and to the scouts and to the Girl Scout, the music lessons, the dance lessons, and all that stuff to give the kids a rounded education. But I would show up somewhere in the interim of what was going on. Whether it was a ball game, I'd show up late, or sometimes I'd get there just in time. Man, I really wanted to be there and coach, but I was doing what I could to make sure they could have those things to enjoy them, and that required obligations, and I took all obligations seriously, whether it was work, family, religion, all that stuff. It's an obligation, and you got to take it seriously. You can't fool around with it. It's means a lot in the long run. So as you're muddling through the morning, getting ready, getting ready to head up. Most of you are probably rolling already to get to the job site. Most jobs start at 7, unless you're a plumber or electrician. Then you just show up around lunchtime or whatever. I'm just kidding. Love you guys. Love you guys. The electricians and ladders. That was always a joke. It probably still is. They're the worst ones not wanting to move a ladder. I mean, get off a ladder to move it. They'd be walking it across the floor, and I understood it. We went to Baker Scaffolding when we had a lot of wiring and stuff, or dismantlement, or taking down wiring, or plumbing, or electrical, or process equipment. We use the old Baker scaffold. I guess you buy them at Home Depot or Harbor Freight. I don't know where you can buy them in multiple places. And those cats who designed those are pretty good because they were right at 5.5 feet. And of course, at 6 feet, fall protection is required. But those Baker scaffolding come in right at, I think, 5.5 or 5 feet. So, and they would have wheels on them. And you're not really supposed to move those unless, well, no, if they're more than 2 high, that's when you got to have. The standard says you're supposed to come down and move them. Nobody's supposed to push them for you. I never really got critical on that when it was a straight run and they were just moving it around a foot at a time, or I just couldn't bring myself to making those guys get up and down off that scaffolding just to move it 3 feet when there was something for them to hang on to up above and they can move it and keep their balance while it moved. That was the main thing. You don't want to lose your balance when you're in an elevated position like that. Y'all excuse me, I got cough. Let's see, where's the button at? All right, sorry about that. Anyway, so we don't have to worry about the cold weather, and it's pretty dry, so we're good there. So if you need a topic this morning, you should be looking at your work. What kind of work are you doing? What kind of hazards? And team leaders, supervisors, foremen, don't forget that the guys who are doing the work probably recognize more hazards than anybody else. So when you do your PTPs, put together the hazard analysis or whatever, take into account what these guys have to say and include it. And when you have your safety meeting, encourage discussion and encourage the guys to express their thoughts on any hazards they may have or working conditions or anything like that. And if it's serious, make sure it's addressed. And if it's probably just a early morning growl, guy's unhappy, then bring him to the side and say, hey, everything okay? And let's go look at this and take that time. And sometimes, even as a leader and you're trying to do your best, you have to call BS when necessary. The guy just don't want to work. That's tough to say. And it doesn't happen very often. There might be 2, 3, 4 in 100 that would behave that way. They're just unhappy. They're the kind of person that complains about other people's driving habits or people's behavior in the grocery store. Somebody disrupts their flow for a minute or two, and they let everybody else know about it. Their brother-in-law is an ass or whatever. But anyway, how's the sound coming? Let me check it since I don't seem to have anybody on here. One of these days, somebody gonna show up. Well, I got myself muted. Let's see if I can unmute. Check. All right. How we doing? All right. Let me turn this off. All right. One man show. If I had somebody out there, they could tell me if I wasn't coming through or whatever. But let's see. Pinch points. Pinch points, guys. We're in the business where we use our hands every day. And a pinch point is if you hit your hand with a hammer. So it not necessarily a catastrophic event, but you can sure avoid somebody hurting a digit, and so they're walking around one-handed for a week, or can't use this hand because they injured the finger on it. Can't use it for 2 or 3 days, and it costs them production, costs you production, it costs them pain and agony and having to work with maybe a minor injury that you've addressed with first aid. And it could be more serious, a serious pinch point. You could lose a finger putting your hand somewhere where you weren't paying attention or shouldn't have been paying attention, or you didn't know, or any of that kind of stuff. So if you want to talk about something, talk about pinch points, talk about hand protection. What kind of gloves are you using? Are they cut proof? Do you need cut proof, or you just need a pair of leather gloves? If you're just running a wheelbarrow or a shovel, or maybe a power tool all day, and you just need general protection, then you could go with a leather. If you're having to use a box cutter or whatever they cut, utility knife, or if you're in the sheetrock business and you're cutting away with a utility knife, then you probably need some type of cut proof. If you're an electrician and you're having to pull wires and work around panel boxes, you probably need a cut proof too. Protect yourself from punches and gouges from wire, or sharp edges on boxes or conduit, or all kinds of things. So make sure you're taking care of your hands. Watch out for the big pinch points too. Struck by or caught in between, equipment on the job site. You got grading going on next to the building you're working in, and when you come out the door, you need to be looking. Needs to be some type of warning or something out there, protects you from that kind of hazard. Hazards around us everywhere. We just have to have a a state of mind of awareness. We need to be aware of the things that are around us. All right, what do we got? 33 minutes into this. And I do this every month. I'm going to do this every Monday morning between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. Because, like I said, there's a radio show I like to listen to on Sirius XM. I think it's on the Patriot channel, but the guy's name is Mike Slater. And every Monday morning, he starts the show with a segment on gratefulness. What are we grateful for? And I like to listen to that. I'm amazed at some of the things that people are grateful for. I'm grateful for. People would be amazed at what I'm grateful for, but gratefulness is a good place to start your day if you think about it. Gratefulness is a good place to stay most of the day if you think about it. When things happen, and they happen all the time, instead of looking at it from you're cursed, it's be grateful that you had the opportunity to experience it and you didn't get hurt, and you could share with others, what's going on or what happened to you, and maybe prevent someone else from getting hurt. Anyway, that's why I do it at this time of the morning. And if it changes, over time, if I gain enough people who want to participate in the show, and there's a bigger consensus that it would serve more people at a different time frame, or longer duration, I'm happy with that. I don't know if I could do it a longer duration on Monday unless we started at 4 in the morning. I would do it. Not that I'd want to, but I'd happily do it if I thought it would serve somebody to see this mug at that time every day. Let me ask, when you guys have I've even been in doctors' offices, and even they have a safety meeting first thing in the morning. They may not call it a safety meeting, they may call it a staff meeting, they may call it something else, but it's a meeting where everybody gets together. They talk about the objectives of the day, they talk about what the crew strength is, what's needed for what position, they talk about the hazards, and the means and methods that's been calculated how it should be done. And if you're in a meeting, and first of all, you should be having those every day. Uh, I've had guys in the past that would ask their supervisor, "Are we going to have a PTP meeting this morning?" Because they knew it was important. Y'all, excuse me. But yeah, uh, that meeting first thing in the morning with your staff or your crew is absolutely important. It puts you in the um, unified mindset. Except for the detractors, you'll always have one like, man, why we got to do this? You just put him to this, and eventually he'll learn that because of your extraordinary leadership skills, he'll learn that, he's on the outside, and very few people like being on the outside. And you'll build a more cohesive and a more productive workforce if you do those things. Believe me, may take a while. May take a while. I've seen it fall together pretty quickly because people were used to working with me. Then I've seen it take 4 to 6 weeks where it actually came together. If you're with a crew you've not had the pleasure or opportunity of working with before, so that PTP meeting is pretty important. It builds camaraderie. It reviews the tasks that are being performed. It talks about the hazards of the tasks that are to be performed and how we're going to mitigate them. And then if you sign off on it, what that says is that you understand what's been talked about in that meeting. So, supervisors, that's a tool that's very important to you as well. When somebody's performing outside their work, um, safety director for a company I work for, he told me one time, he said 90% or better of all the accidents or incidents or injuries happened when someone was working outside of the PTP. They were doing something that was never talked about, never even presented. They weren't even told to do in another area, and that's how the injury occurred. And as time went by, I agree with that. I've done ample number of accident investigations from minor injuries to fatalities. Um, there's been I've been involved in 4 fatalities over the years, investigation or uh, yeah, yeah. So that's my driving force. When you have to look in the face of a dead coworker's family, parents, grandparents, wife, sisters, siblings, children, that's when you realize how important it is. So don't don't wait for that realization to come to you. Be proactive, prevent that, and be interested in your health and safety, and the health and safety of your co-workers. Anyway, that's where we're at. That that's where we're at. All right. How did what so what type of leader or what type of supervisor or foreman are you? Are you a boss or a leader? And you guys who don't have a position, you're just whatever it is, you're a pipe fitter or whatever. What do you want to be seen as? You want to be seen as a leader or a boss? A grumpy old SOB. I've had some, yeah, old Joe. I'm not going to call his last name. Old Joe. He came up working in the fields where they lived in camps, and he was a supervisor, and he was a tough old dog, and he, riggers, putting in new equipment and all that, and he was tough about it. But he did the things, man. He had that safety meeting. And he would cuss you a blue streak if he caught you doing something you ought not be doing. And I was happy to work with him, and he and I crossed horns a couple times, but in the end, we ended up being, on the same page. And I would consider it friendly. And I would shake his hand today. I've seen him recognize things that I didn't recognize. It's because he had more experience at the time. Living in a man camp for months on end. Hell, man, he had cooks, and I forget what kind of, it might have been oil field business or pipeline business. I don't remember, but that was the way he did it. I can't believe I'm the only man out here up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, of course, I ain't picking people up. I ain't kissing the wife bye. I ain't fixing my lunch. I ain't picking up people. I ain't writing up PTPs. I ain't doing none of that. You guys are. So even if you even if you were to even if you tune in another after the fact, after this video, if you tune in, man, put some comments in there. Give me something to talk about on the next one. If you can't tune in because you're too busy, uh, I'm glad to hear what you think about what I'm saying. Am I totally off base? Am I a fool, or am I on the right track? And you'd like to see more, or you'd like to hear something a little different, I'll accommodate, because here's the main thing. I just want to make sure you guys are motivated and ready to get after it and do it in a safe, timely, and efficient fashion that makes makes your family proud, makes your company proud, makes the people you're working for proud. And you do those things, and you're on the right track, man. That's what you need to be. That's who you need to be. You need to be that kind of guy who's a part of that kind of outfit, who does that superior performance for that kind of for that kind of GC. And believe me, there's benefits in that. There's real benefits in there. If you show up on the job site and you're properly dressed out, and you having your PTP meeting, and everybody's being safe and taking care of each other, when you're working for a GC, you are a godsend to those guys. They ain't burning up resources, running around chasing you around to make sure you ain't doing something wrong or hurting somebody or doing something idiotic that could endanger life or property on their project. And they'll want to call you back. Next time they have a job, they'll go, hey, man. And does that bring a premium? Sometimes. I've seen it bring a premium when the GC knew that that your outfit performed in a far superior way than all the other ones they've had experience with. It could bring you a premium. I've seen it happen. I don't know if it's 50% more, but they might, you could be 10% higher because of the training that you put your people through. And also, regular safety meetings on the job site's important. Or training. You know, one morning spend 15 minutes reviewing how to do uh, fall protection inspection. Spend another 10 minutes going over equipment inspections. Uh, Properly inspected equipment, if you catch it soon enough, it could save a ton of money on repairs. If you let it just keep on going, it can end up costing more, and it does. Uh, but if you're documenting your inspections, that takes the onus off of you and puts it on the maintenance department or the company owner for not performing the maintenance on the equipment after being notified um, of uh, things that need to be taken care of, whether it's a oil change or a broken bolt or something that takes a lot of pressure and it needs to be fixed. As long as you write it up and get it submitted, even if it's on a daily basis, write it up every day. And when it does break and the boss man is madder than hell because he has to pay $12,000, you can go, look, boss man, I wrote it up every day and communicated with your maintenance staff, and they just didn't seem to have time to take care of it. And that shifts that responsibility and that accountability away, because you may not have the ability to call the owner of the company or the one of the top dogs. They may not have any understanding. They have maintenance people who are supposed to take care of that. So if you're a maintenance person, and you're probably out there this morning too, maintenance guys, I love you guys, welders, uh, fabricators, heavy equipment, guys who change truck tires. They ain't making no money in them tires if them trucks ain't rolling. They need them tires. Making sure they're safe. Lights are always burning on them, especially this time of morning. You don't want to get no liability issue by driving around an old junk truck that ain't got no lights burning on it. Somebody runs up behind you and hits you. It's on you, man. It's on you. You don't want that. They'll pull out in front of you because he didn't have no lights. Any kind of excuse in the world. So you got to show where you inspected that equipment and it's working. If that equipment has to sit, that truck has to sit for a few minutes, that truck has to sit till it can get ready to roll right. Same way with the equipment you're driving around in, the pickup trucks. You need to have all the lights on. Ain't nothing. That's an easy pullover for a sheriff or a state patrolman. That's easy. You an easy target. You got a tail light out or you got a tag light out. All right, I got me one. And they can make up stuff. That just makes you an easy target. Look at that. Nobody watching. That's all right. I'm having fun. If you don't want to have fun with me, man, that's on you. That's on you. When you can get on here and tell me what I'm saying ain't making no sense or whatever, that's on you, man. Here's another thing. Your future is hopeful. Opportunities are around you everywhere. If you're the guy who's just getting started and you're the bottom man on the totem pole and your job is to haul trash on a wheelbarrow or to dig ditches, that's that's your opportunity. That's your opportunity. You could be the best trash mover there is, and you're not going to stay moving trash for long. Because if you can organize yourself to move the most amount of trash with the least amount of effort, then that skill set can be applied across a whole range of things. So always do your best. Always think of ways to improve what you're doing. And over time, it'll be worth it to you. If you're not recognized where you're at, then maybe there's another opportunity out there for you, another company, another business opportunity, another side gig that can provide for you. I've seen guys who worked in masonry and concrete and did it for years and learned the skill and started their own business. That's a good business to get into uh, if you want to be on your own. Landscapers, seen guy, all he had was a pickup truck, and in 10 years he owned a rock yard, a big old yard full of landscaping, a mulch, stone, and had crews out there, all kinds of trucks, equipment, and doing a bang up job and making a good living for him and his co-workers and his family and his community, and giving to the church, and just beautiful. That could be you. All Only thing that stands between that and you and success is you. That's tough. If you don't like where you're at and your position in life, where you're living or how you're living, that's on you, man. That's on you. Only you can change that. It might mean taking some risk that you're uncomfortable with. But on another channel, what is it? Nothing New. My other channel, Nothing New. Uh, we talked about that fear. You know, are you a fear of losing what little you may have, and that prevents you from taking a risk and stepping out on your own? Uh, your opportunity is for you, man. All right. Enough of that. We got about another 8 minutes, and then I'm going to go listen to Mike Slater. I got to take off the trash, going to go for a walk. I got to come back and taxes. Y'all done your taxes yet? I'm trying to get mine submitted by the middle of this month. Man. Oh, well. I believe in paying tax. I believe in help keep the roads up. I ain't seen much of that lately where I live at. I believe in, you know, I want to say I believe in public schools. I believe in the concept of public schools, but I'm not sure if I believe in the current form of current school or current school system. And it can change. It could be better. Always be better. Could be worse. And it has been. And I don't understand it. In this country, we spend more per capita for education. And yet than any country in the world, we spend that. And yet we rank amongst the lowest. What is going on? What is going on? What are we teaching our children when we're that ineffective at educating our children? Are we training our children to be that ineffective? Is that a downward spiral? How do we change that? Anyway, that's politicking. Our concern about your tax dollar, my tax dollars. I don't know how you think about your tax dollars. Maybe you think you're getting your money's worth out of the situation. Sometimes I'm not so sure when I see some of the idiocy going on out there. But anyway, who am I? I'm just a guy sitting in the man cave broadcasting silliness at 5 o'clock in the morning, trying to see if there's anybody else out there like me. I don't know if there is, but here I am. All right. What is that? All right. Hey, guys, I appreciate you watching today. Make sure that give me that thumbs up on this, and subscribe to the channel, and share. Also, there's another channel I have out there. It's called Middleclassbubba, with a split between the class and the Bubba space. And that's a channel that I do toolbox safety topic videos on. And so if you're a supervisor and you sometimes don't know exactly what you want to talk about that day, I've got hundreds of videos there of safety topics. And I always put the script in the description, so you can print out the script. You have an example of how to talk about it. I have seen guys make their guys watch it on the TV or on a computer screen. They just got 3 or 4 guys and they got to have a safety meeting. The supervisor go, hey, let's watch this. Let's watch this about ladder safety. Let's watch this about working with aerial lifts. Let's watch this about, respiratory protection. And it's available. So if you need that, feel free to go there. Just make sure you subscribe. I don't care. Just as long as you watch it, man, just watch it. Watch it. Be helpful if you gave me that like and subscribe, but more importantly, just watch it. Get something out of it. All right. I'm going to do that full hour. I got about 3 minutes. Yeah. Hard to fill up an hour of dead air space, one man. I try to be prepared. You see my sticky notes, but I cover it too quickly, too fastly. Put in a little, oh yeah, here's one. Nah, I ain't gonna show that. Somebody wants to watch next time, I'll show them what I found at the flea market. Let y'all figure that stuff out. I got old nickel. Anybody ever seen one of these before? Let me see if I can show you this thing. Ain't gonna do it. Old buffalo nickel. Anyway, listen, guys, as you're out there going about your work, remember, take care of yourself, because you're number one. Look out for your coworkers. Help ensure their safety. More importantly, have a grateful day. Start the day with a grateful attitude and a cup of coffee. I'm sure, you ever thought about it, how many gallons of coffee a Quick Trip serves on Monday morning? All that cervezas, drinking a beer, watching the sports, going to bed late, getting up early. What a fun time. Almost 6 o'clock. Man, talking about having to get motivated. I'm having to get motivated to go do my exercise this morning. All right, boys and girls. I sure have enjoyed my time with you this morning. Like I said before, don't forget to subscribe. Give me that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Share. Make sure you share it. And as always, have a grateful day. Start your day being grateful. See if it doesn't improve your daily thought patterns. Anyway, I sure do appreciate it.